Most restaurant owners think marketing means posting on Instagram, running a few ads, and hoping people walk in the front door. But the truth is, the restaurants that are consistently full follow a completely different system. Over the last 10 years, I've helped hundreds of restaurant owners increase profits and get more customers through their front doors. So, on this video, I'm going to lay out a complete restaurant marketing guide for 2026 so you will know the exact strategies and tactics that are working for restaurants today. In case you don't know me, my name is Chip Close. I'm the founder and CEO of Restaurant Strategy. I help independent restaurant owners increase the profitability of their restaurants. That means I show you how to make more and work less. I literally wrote the book on this topic. It's called The Restaurant Marketing Mindset. So if any of this resonates, go find the book. You can get the hardcover book on Amazon. You can also find me on Audible if you prefer audiobooks. What I want to lay out is a comprehensive guide so you understand the strategies and tactics that are actually working today. Marketing your restaurant is easier than they would have you believe. You don't need an agency. You don't need a bunch of expensive, fancy software. You just need a plan in place. So what I want to give you is this foundation in 3 steps. The way I think about marketing is like a triangle, right? Couldn't be easier. 3 sides to a triangle. There are 3 sides to marketing your restaurant. Are you ready? Attraction, retention, evangelism, right? Attraction means customer acquisition. You need a way to get the attention of people who have never heard of you before and convince them to come in and try you for the first time. So there's a whole bunch of things you do to make that happen. The second thing is retention, right? Customer retention. How do you get people to come back and how do you increase the frequency of visits? There are a whole bunch of things you do to make that thing happen. And then finally, the last piece I call evangelism, right? Because a restaurant grows, same way a church grows. Evangelism has everything to do with word of mouth. So this is probably the most important thing because we know how powerful word of mouth is, especially in our industry. In fact, I'll sit in front of tons of restaurant owners. So I'll give talks at trade shows or conventions, and I'll say, what's our most powerful marketing tool out there? And I'll hear a chorus of people coming back to me, and they'll say word of mouth. And I say, great. So what's your word of mouth strategy? And everyone looks to their sides, and they're like, what? What do you mean a word of mouth strategy? And then usually some guy in the back raises their hand and says, well, that's not how word of mouth works. And I say, well, tell me how word of mouth works. They're like, well, someone comes in and they have a really good time and then they tell their mom and their friends and like the other people at work. And I said, that's fine. But if that is so powerful, then man, wouldn't it be to our benefit if we came up with a plan to make sure that happened every single time somebody sat in our restaurant? And of course they go, oh yeah, maybe. So we need a plan for it. Attraction, retention, evangelism. Those are the 3 sides to marketing your restaurant. Let's work them in order. Attraction, customer acquisition. How do you get new people to walk in the front door? This begins, right? So now we're getting into tactics. This begins with Google. Google is the #1 website in the world. This is where people go to find things. And yes, if they're under the age of 30, people are going to ChatGPT and Claude and all of that. We'll cover that over the course of this. But you want to make sure you are found by the people who are looking for the thing you have. Meaning, if you got really great, buffalo wings, when somebody says great buffalo wings near me, or I'm going to Newport, what place has the best buffalo wings, right? You want to make sure that you pop up in that search. How do you do that? You do that by maintaining your SEO and SEM. SEO, search engine optimization. SEM, search engine monetization, right? So search engines are Google, Bing, things like that. You have to make sure you are found by the people who are looking for what you have. It's really, really important. The other side of this is GEO, generative engine optimization, and that's tools like ChatGPT, Claude, and on and on. So making sure that AI can find you, which is a totally different thing. I will talk about that as sort of a caveat, as an asterisk to this conversation. There's a piece of software that I think everybody needs. It's called Marquee. Marquee does listings management and reputation management. We are going to talk about Marquee in this beginning piece when we're talking about listings management and SEO. I'll explain what listings are in a second. And we're going to talk about it when we talk about evangelism, right? Because reputation management is about getting more reviews and responding to those reviews. Marquee is an incredibly powerful little piece of software that's like $100, $150 a month that will help you do a lot of the heavy lifting. When it comes to your website has to be dialed in. It has to be optimized, right? It needs to have not too many pages. It needs to take people where they need. People need to be able to find information really easily. So your hours, your location, your phone number, your email, right? They need your menu. They need to know how to place an order, how to book a reservation. Making sure your website is dialed in and very easy to use is a big part of how you get found on sites like Google. Also, managing your listings. So, Google is probably the most famous place where your information will pop up. But you know there are like 70 or 80 different websites all over the internet that all list your information. So your name, your phone number, your address, your hours, your menu. And what happens is that if your information doesn't, either if it's not listed on a lot of those, which I'm guessing there's 70 or 80, you probably only know about 5 or 6 of them, right? Like Foursquare and Yelp and Facebook and things like that. But there are like 70 or 80. Most of those websites scrape other places, but they don't all scrape from the same place. Scrape means get information and sort of like put that information on their listings, on their directory. So a tool like Marquee, and you don't have to do it, you don't have to use them, but you do have to do this. So if you have to do this, I certainly want the easy button. It's what I talk about a lot with my clients, the members of the P3 Mastermind. We talk about the easy button, right? What's the low effort, high impact task you will do? Getting a tool like Marquee is incredibly powerful. And again, for 100, 150 bucks a month, they're going to take care of your listings management and your reputation management. Listings management simply confirms that your name, address, phone number, hours, menu, all of that important information matches across the entire internet. What happens is that the trustability score, the reliability score in a site like Google goes down if your stuff doesn't match. Meaning, if you're on, 111, Rector Street, and you spell out street, that's one thing. If it says Rector ST period, there's a little bit of a difference. And now Google doesn't know enough to know that they're the same thing. They just say, oh, something's different about this. I don't know which one to trust. And so your trustability, your reliability goes down a little bit. So when your hours, when your prices, when your menu, when those things are different, when there's a mismatch, it's little, you go a little down, a little down, a little down, a little down. And as you can imagine, those little cuts will bring you way down. So a tool like a listings management tool, making sure you match across the internet just helps you get found on Google. Something really important to understand about Google. Google is a matchmaking service. People are looking for buffalo wings, and if you have good buffalo wings, they want to pair you together. But if they're not sure that you have buffalo wings, if they're not sure that you have good buffalo wings or that people like those buffalo wings, they're not going to recommend you, because what happens is the more, right, the relevancy is really important. The more they match people together, right? People with businesses, right? And then the more a consumer walks around and says, oh man, I'm glad Google recommended that place. That place was awesome. They want more of those happy, squishy feelings, right? So they want you to love their recommendation. And if at any point you as a consumer walking around, you're like, man, that place was a bust. Little by little, you're like, well, I don't know if I should trust Google anymore. Google definitely doesn't want that. So relevance is really important, making sure they give you the information as a consumer that you want. As a business owner, you have to do everything in your power to get found by the people who are looking for the thing you have. Optimizing your website, managing your listings like your Google business profile, things like that, making sure all your information matches across the internet is crucial. The next piece is SEM, search engine monetization. Google ads, and specifically Google search ads, are the first dollars you spend when you market your restaurant. And to be really clear, you don't have to spend a lot. I'm talking like $5 a day. And if you're doing like, I don't know, $70, $80, $90,000 or more a month, what the hell does it matter to spend $150 on your Google ads? The biggest brands, the best brands in the world do it, and restaurants don't do it enough. You can win because you can get those clicks very, very cheaply. So spend $5 a day, Google search ad. It will really easily walk you through that. I'm sure you can find tons of other videos, even on this platform, that will help you do that. You don't need anything else except Google search ads, and you can do that. And listen, put in the comments, if you want me to do a video on exactly how to run a Google search ad, I will make that video if enough of you guys want me to make that video. So SEO, search engine optimization, meaning your website is dialed in, your listings are dialed in, you match across the internet, your Google business profile is on point. Search engine monetization, SEM, making sure you're running Google search ads, $5 a day to just target the keywords that you want to target. Do that. And then GEO, generative engine optimization. So you optimize your website, you optimize your business for platforms like ChatGPT and Claude. This is incredibly powerful and super, super easy. You want to know the easiest way to do it? You create an FAQ page. ChatGPT and other sites like that, other chatbots like FAQ pages. So take your top 20 or 30 questions that people ask you, right? Do you have vegetarian options? Do you offer wheelchair accessibility, et cetera, et cetera? Just ask the question and then put in the answer. Ask the question, put in the answer all the way down. Make a dedicated FAQ page. It will help you immensely, right? So when we talk about attraction, customer acquisition, Google, right? Search engines, ChatGPT, this is the beginning. The next piece you do is you run meta ads. You don't hit the promote button or that boost button. You don't do it, right? You don't just promote the special events you have coming up, but you run an evergreen ad. What I love to do is some sort of promotion. Get $5, $10, $20 off. I know we don't like discounting, but I'm happy to discount to get someone to try me for the first time. This is the HelloFresh model. It's been working for them for, I don't know what, 15, 20 years. Let's say it is continuing to work. It will work for us. And I know it works for us because I've done this a lot. This is another thing. If you want me to show you how to run a meta ad, how to put this thing, if I get enough hands raised, go down below, put in the comments, tell me you want me to make that video. I will make that video. But you run a meta ad, right, for the, let's say 10 to 15 miles surrounding your place, and you run a promotion. Get $5, $10, $20 off, whatever your price point is. Find something that's juicy enough to get attention and not so much that it's going to kill your profitability, but give them a gift, right? Click here, get $10 off your first visit. They click there, it drives them to a landing page where they put in their name, email, phone number. It says, put in your information, we'll send you the promo to get $10 off your first visit. They put in their information, they hit submit, it says, great, now go check your inbox. Then you set up an automation. You can do this very easily with a platform like MailChimp. You set up the automation so an automated email goes, and you say, show this, click here to place your order online, use the code XYZ to get $10 off, or show this to the cashier when you show up at our restaurant, show this to your server and get $10 off your bill. What happens is we are doing something to make something specific happen. What we're trying to do is drive traffic. When you then, driving people in to use that, you create a specific coupon button, right? A specific code in your system, right? In your POS system, so that at the end of the month, you can run a report on that code. You can see how many redemptions, what was the total promotional cost. So it was, used 10 times, $10 promotion, that's $100 in promotional dollars that you gave away. But then you can also see attributable net sales. What were the net sales after the promotion? So you can see I spent X dollars to generate Y dollars. ROI is something I am always interested in. And that is how you get people from a site like Meta, right? So Facebook and Instagram, to come into your restaurant. You got to give them something to walk in the front door. That's the beginning piece of the flywheel. We get people in, and then in the future, we're going to talk about how to get them back and how to get them talking. But when it comes to customer acquisition, these are the most important pieces you can do. Okay, so now we're figuring out how to get new people in the front door. Then what do we do with that? Because attraction, customer acquisition is incredibly expensive, right? It's difficult to do. It's very, very, very expensive and time consuming. So if we're going to go to the effort to bring people in, we better have a plan to get them back. That's what retention, the second side of this triangle, is all about. The number one thing you can do, the most important marketers that I talk to across all of business and especially in our industry, the most important metric they are focused on is CRM growth. CRM, customer relations management, your CRM platform, right? Your customer data. How many new people are you adding? How many new emails are you adding to your list? So the next thing we have to button up is make sure that we know how we are collecting information. Here we go. Really, really easy. Your reservation system is a way to collect data. You have to make sure that that gets dumped into your system. Any online orders, that information should get dumped into your system. You should have a capture point on your website. It's a really easy way to grow emails. If you have loyalty, it's a really easy way to do it. If you're running those meta ads like we talked about, it's another easy way to do it. And the last one I always love to recommend is gated Wi-Fi. If you offer free Wi-Fi in your restaurant, then just offer it in exchange for an email address. Yes, you can access it, but just put in your name and email address. This is what Hilton does. This is what every airport does. This is what Starbucks does, right? It works. And you can use a tool like VivaSpot. Look it up, VivaSpot. They've got a tool that's like $19 a month. It's a no-brainer, right? So your online reservations, your online orders, your loyalty program, your website, gated Wi-Fi, meta ads, what's that, 5 or 6 different ways to grow your data, right? The more customer data you collect, the more you're able to remarket to them in the future. It's crucial, right? So a buddy of mine, Brian, he used to run all of the marketing, Margaritaville, all of the marketing, CMO for all of Hard Rock. And he says, most important data, the most important KPI, the metric we looked at most was CRM growth, how many emails they added to their list every single month, because there's a direct correlation between that and dollars generated. The next thing then is when you have all of that, you got to communicate with them. An email marketing, right? A consistent email marketing program will work. You should be sending minimum of 1 email every single week. If you're more casual, you can get away with 2 or 3 emails. I've seen very, very casual brands to get away with as many as 5 or 6 emails a week. I'm not recommending it. I'm just saying you can. You can email your people more than you think. Remember the 1-to-1-to-1 principle. I hope you're writing all this down. There's a lot of information, trying to spit it out fast. 1-to-1-to-1. 1 email, 1 subject, 1 call to action. So this is an email about this, blah, 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 blah. If that interests you, this is what you do about it. Click this button, right? So now taking reservations for our wine dinners, click here to reserve your spot. Very, very simple. If you have 5 things to talk about, you've got 5 emails to send, meaning, Christmas Eve reservations, New Year's Eve reservations, our holiday wine dinner series. We've got our holiday chocolates and gift boxes. Don't forget your gift cards. Those are all different emails, right? 1-to-1-to-1. 1 email, 1 message, 1 call to action, right? Send an email every single week. Trust me, you got plenty of stuff to talk about. So what are we going to talk about? I'm glad you asked. You could talk about a signature dish. You could talk about a new dish. You could talk about your wine program. You could talk about new additions to your beverage program. You could talk about some of the people in your place. So a big personality, right? A chef, a general manager, a bar director. You can talk about, a long-standing employee, maybe somebody new to the team, right? You could talk about your philosophy, your ethos, why you exist, what you care most about. You can talk about your catering, your private dining. You could talk about how you're hiring, right? You're looking for a job. We're always looking for great people. There's always something to talk about. You have plenty to talk about. Trust me, even if you just highlighted a different menu item every week, right? I'm sure you can get through 52 weeks easily enough. And there's more interesting ways to do it. Again, so many things to talk about. 1-to-1-to-1. Get in that cadence of doing at least 1 email every single week. It is the preferred mode of communication between consumers and the brands they support. So your consumers, your guests, support you. You are the brand. So this is the way they want to hear from you. So make sure you're communicating to them. It is about staying top of mind with them so that when it comes time to book a reservation, you are the thing that they think about because they get those communications from you. And they enjoy getting those communications from you. Even if they ignore them, it's just because they're not in a place to intersect with your business. Can't tell you how important this is. The last thing is 4 walls marketing. One of the most dangerous words that we can say, or one of the most dangerous phrases is, thank you so much, have a great night, right? Huge, right? I'm going to give you 2 4 walls scripts, right? 4 walls meaning marketing you do inside your 4 walls that will cost you basically nothing, right? First one is how we say goodbye, right? Thanks so much. Have a great night. It's a waste. I worked with a maitre d' a million years ago, an old French guy. It was classic. Worked through the 70s, 80s, and 90s in New York City. And he said, I never say thanks so much. Have a good night. I don't mean it. And he was sort of being funny. He was exaggerating, right? But thanks so much. Have a great night. He said, it's a waste. When they're here, I know they'll have a great night because we're really good at what we do. I know I can take care of them when they're within our 4 walls. So my job, naturally, if I want them to have a great night, is to get them back for a night in the future. So every single time as people were leaving, he would shake their hands and say, hey, thanks so much. When are we going to see you again? Can I make another reservation for you? Let's get you back on the books. Can we see you next week or in a couple of weeks? Most people will say, no, 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 we'll be back. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with my life. And they'll walk out, right? 80% failure rate. But 1 in 5, 20% success rate. 1 in 5 will think of something they've got coming up. Oh, that's right. You're entertaining those clients. Remember, honey? Oh, your sister's coming in from out of town with her husband. Let's bring them here. Oh, they will think of things they have coming up. They will think of reasons to come to you. Oh, yeah, we got date night next week. We're going to go see that movie. Maybe we'll come here after the movie. Or we got theater tickets or whatever it is. They will think of excuses, ways to join you. You just have to prompt them. You just have to ask for it. Ask the question you actually want them to ask. The other piece of four walls marketing that everybody should be doing is asking, hey, everyone, how you doing? My name is Chip. I'll be taking care of you. You've dined with us before, right? Right? Or is anyone new? Has anyone never dined with us before? Ask the question. You want to find out who are the new people. When you figure out the new people then, right? Actually do something with that information. What I always recommend is you have a manager swoop in, right? So server tells the manager, hey, table 10 is new. At some point during the meal, the best time usually is right after the order's been taken. The manager goes over and says, hi, I'm so sorry to interrupt. My name is Chip. I'm one of the managers here. I understand it's your first time here. So I wanted to come over, introduce myself. And I wanted to ask you really how'd you hear about us? What made you come in tonight? When you start a conversation and you start it with the question of what made you come in tonight? How did you hear about us? You will learn quite a bit about your marketing. You'll find out what marketing of yours is actually working. Is it word of mouth? Did they see an ad? Did they drive past your thing? Whatever it is. Over the course of that conversation, then it can be 30 seconds, 60 seconds. At the end of that conversation, the manager should just drop their card and says, listen, I really appreciate you coming in. I know this is your first time. I want to make sure it's not your last. This is my card. On the back, I wrote, $10 off next visit or free round of drinks. So next time you come in, make sure to ask for me. Your first round of drinks is on me, right? No questions asked. Come in, the two of you again, great. You want to come in and bring the entire baseball team? Totally fine. I'll buy everybody a drink. It's something that I used to do that works incredibly well. You give your business card, you circle your number or your email, and you put free round of drinks, and then you put today's date. Say, hey, I dated, sign that. Put my date on it, use that anytime in the next 30 days, right? And drinks are on me. So that there's an expiration date, that they're going to come back sooner rather than later. So maybe does that cost a little bit in comp budget? Fine, but drinks are relatively low cost, right? High margin items. So I don't mind giving away free drinks. It's a nice gesture, right? Those are ways to get the people who've come in to get them to come back. Remember, we talked about customer retention and increasing the frequency of visits. First timers is huge. Those people on their way out, get them back on the books. Emails stay top of mind, and customer data makes sure that you can remarket to everybody. Finally, the last piece is evangelism. The biggest thing you can do for evangelism is make sure, right? If we know word of mouth is so powerful, good food is not enough for someone to go talk about, right? I got a little bagel place down the street. Sausage, egg, and cheese, they're great. I never walk into anybody and be like, oh, God, you'll never believe this really great sausage, egg, and cheese I had. I never talk about it. I only talk about certain things that are unique, out of the ordinary, above and beyond, truly exceptional. So you have to put those moments in there. We call them speed bumps, right? So that people will always, if they're, no matter where they're traveling in our meal, they will hit a speed bump at least once over the course of the meal, meaning something that they can't help but go talk about. Something they'll take a picture of, they'll take a video of, they'll post online, they'll text to a friend, or something they'll go, oh, you'll never believe, I got to show you this picture. I was at dinner last Saturday and look at what they did. Something that makes people want to go talk about you. You got to manufacture those moments. The very best restaurants do. Finally, then I told you we were talking about marquee. We're going to loop back around and talk about marquee reputation management. You need a plan for getting more reviews. A lot of times it's simply asking. You don't need to have your servers ask. You don't need 1 million reviews every single day. You need 1 or 2. Because if you get 30 to 50 every single month, 30 to 50 5-star reviews, trust me, that will help your rankings in Google. We know that reviews factor prominently into search results. So you need more reviews and you need to respond to each and every one. Do you need to do it every day? No. But I recommend once a week sitting down for about a half an hour and responding to each and every one. Guess what? Marquee has an AI response tool. So they'll craft a response so that you can just edit and check on them, or they can just, respond on your behalf and just fire those away if you feel like you trust the system. So do you need to use Marquee? No, you don't. But getting more reviews and responding to every single review is absolutely something you need to do. So Marquee offers the easy button. That's it, guys. A complete marketing system. Think of it like a triangle. Three sides to a triangle, three ways to market your restaurant. You focus on customer acquisition. There are specific things you do to make that happen. You focus on customer retention. There are specific things you do to make that happen. And then evangelism, right? Word of mouth. There are specific things you do to make that happen. So forget all the buzzy tech and the agencies and all of that. You don't need it. You just need a plan, a strategy that takes into account all three of those areas. Listen, if you are interested in that, go get my book, The Restaurant Marketing Mindset. And if any of this resonates, right, this ties hand in hand with the work we do in the P3 Mastermind. P3 Mastermind is a group coaching program where I work with independent restaurant owners all over the country to help them dial in profits. Obviously, increasing covers is a big part of what we do, right? We have 2 dedicated calls every week, an operations call and a marketing call, where we literally walk you through these and so many more, right? So it's every single week of the year, and we literally walk you through a million different things. We didn't talk about texting. We didn't talk about loyalty. We didn't talk about street fairs. We didn't talk about mailers. We didn't talk about a whole lot on this video, right? So there's a lot more we cover in the program. If you're interested, go below in the captions. You'll see there's a link there where you can set up a call with me or someone from my team. If it's interesting, I would love to talk to you about it. Again, I appreciate you guys being here. I'll see you on the next one.